It's the Moss Minute.
Hi everyone, welcome to this edition of the Moss HR Minute. I'm Nicole Moss. I'm the co-founder of Moss Consulting HR Services, where we help business owners solve the people and operational challenges shaping today's workspace. On this show, we sit down with leaders, experts, and entrepreneurs to uncover the real issues that business owners are facing every day. Today, I'm joined by Ashley Zieman, one of our HR managers here at Moss Consulting, supporting Houston businesses. Ashley has built and scaled HR functions at fast-growing companies. She has led complex employee relations investigations. She's managed integrations after acquisitions and has supported teams of organizations ranging from startups to ExxonMobil and global investment banking. So many things, Ashley. So here's how the show works. Okay. I'm going to ask Ashley 5 hard-hitting business questions that owners are struggling with right now. You will give us your answer in 1 Moss Minute, and then we'll dive in deeper together. Are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Let's jump in. Okay, question 1. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
You have led high-stake investigations, including harassment, discrimination, and conflict resolution work across multiple industries. What's the biggest mistake that business owners make when they're handling sensitive employee situations? Walk us through in 1 Moss Minute.
Sure thing. Great question, because I think this happens in every industry, every employee population. When something gets uncomfortable, people back away. Mm-hmm. But that's when things get muddied, it gets lost in translation, and that's what leads to bigger issues and more people needing to get involved when it may not have arisen to that level if we would have just taken a step back and dove in on the front end.
Yep. Completely agreed. What is the first step that an owner should take if they've received a complaint of any kind?
Great question. They need to lead with curiosity as opposed to an immediate reaction. If they get further information, they may come up with a solution that way as opposed to reacting, kind of letting it grow into something bigger that could have more implications down the road. So clarifying questions, really making sure they have all the information at once. And then, of course, if they think it would be better to hand it off to an HR professional or an HR consultant, that could lead to a more unbiased investigation.
Got it. Perfect. We talked about it yesterday and you're right, that when things get uncomfortable, people kind of shy away from them. They don't want to deal with them. Those issues very rarely go away.
Exactly.
Very rarely. Sometimes, in the rarest of cases, sometimes they'll go away, but for the most part,
exactly.
They get bigger.
Just because you ignore it does not mean it's going to go away.
Correct. Excellent.
So don't ignore it.
Don't ignore it. Let us know. We can help you.
Yeah.
It is. It's so much easier to deal with early too, because once more people get involved, there's more opinions involved. It can get really
and if an employee doesn't feel heard, that's where the clarifying questions are important. That's when they may get more emotional about it because they just don't feel heard and think they are being silenced in some way. Yeah,
and even I think some complaints, when we were talking about harassment or discrimination, anything sensitive, we all that have been trained in this, our alarm bells go off. But if an employee comes to you with a complaint about anything, it is so important to take it seriously, because even though it might feel small to you and your growing laundry list of things that need to get done that day that range from importance, it's important to them. If they're coming to you, it's important to them, and leaving those issues alone even will snowball into larger items. Well, perfect. Are we ready for question 2?
Yes.
Okay, so you've personally built HR functions from scratch.
Yes.
Including growing startup to over 100 employees in under a year. It's insane.
A lot of work.
For founders who are scaling quickly, what HR systems and processes must be in place before headcount explodes? Answer that in 1 Moss Minute.
Okay. So you can grow fast without a lot of things, but not without structure. So at a minimum, we need a hiring plan, an onboarding plan, and clear expectations for each role. no one sets out to want to do a bad job that day. So we need to know how we're measuring each employee.
I love it.
So all three of those systems can stabilize the whole company when you're adding people frequently.
Perfect. So what processes give the biggest return on stability during rapid growth?
Just those documented, clear expectations for the plans themselves. How are we going to onboard a person to make sure each person's experience is more or less similar?
Mhm.
It's not going to be exactly the same each week, but that way, that is starting to build your culture, and that experience for each employee is important.
Love it. Absolutely love that. Question 3.
Okay.
You have hired hundreds of employees, from warehouse teams to investment bankers to corporate leaders. For Houston businesses, if they're struggling to hire and keep talent, what's the most overlooked part of an effective recruiting and retention strategy that you've seen? Give us that in one Moss minute.
Okay. So I think the overlooked piece for Houston companies, and I think this could probably just be said for outside of Houston too, is the experience in the first 90 days.
Okay.
So we spend a lot of energy attracting talent. We put our best foot forward. They put their best foot forward, but we got to keep that up so that those employees don't regret their decision in the first 90 days or just something doesn't quite match what was said in the hiring process. A structured onboarding process, check-ins, a mentor program, that is going to help keep that 90-day experience really aligned.
Love it. Woohoo! What's one hiring red flag business owners should never ignore?
The lack of accountability on part of the person being interviewed.
Okay.
If it's always someone else's fault, if they can't name something they've learned through a hard process or a project, that to me is a red flag. That won't be able to be coached out of a person.
Okay, excellent. Question 4. You have designed performance review programs, trained managers, and facilitated some really tough conversations. What's the key to running an effective performance management process that actually does improve performance, not just paperwork? Walk us through that in one Moss minute.
Sure. So on the highest level, consistency and clarity is important. And I think diving into that a little bit more, we don't want the performance review process just to be paperwork or, in today's age, online work.
Yeah, documents.
Right. But it's actually specific enough to drive either improvement or separation if someone's not meeting expectations. So, we don't want this to just be an exercise. We also want it to be a conversation between the supervisor and the employee.
Perfect. So on that note, how can an owner or a leader tell when it's time for coaching versus when it's time to perhaps separate from the employee?
Sure. We need to look at overall patterns with the employee. If it's a skill or a process understanding, that can be coached, that can be improved as long as the employee is willing. But if it's an attitude issue, an integrity issue, or violations of policy or something of that nature, that can't be continuously overlooked because ultimately that will impact employees around them and the overall culture.
Perfect. Question 5. Future. We're talking about the future of HR and Houston businesses. Since you've joined our team, we are focused on Houston and growing our market here and helping these business owners. So you've worked across energy, tech, investment banking, e-commerce, and startups. You've seen how the HR landscape is continually evolving. What major HR and people trends should small and mid-sized Houston businesses be prepared for right now? Sum that up for us in one Moss Minute.
Great question. And the HR and people sphere right now is ever changing. So I think this is a really important question. So the use of HR tech, analytics, and AI, all used responsibly, will set apart companies moving forward or have companies move kind of further behind as those items continue to grow. And what I think we'll see more and more is using those tools to just further streamline processes. We don't want AI to take over the recruiting process. That loses the human element, but pieces of it, while supervised by a human, will help make that quicker and make the employee showing up to the company faster and better for everyone.
Awesome. It reminds me of a song. Do you remember the Daft Punk song? Faster, better, stronger. Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Remember? Yeah. So, no, that's excellent. I think that that's great. Let's talk a little bit about strategy and just your background. So we've talked a little bit about all the incredible things you've done. You, just like Hesha, who was in another episode, you both come to us with MBAs. And I think it's so fascinating to match the human resource side of a business with an MBA. Can you kind of talk through your process of wanting to work in HR, getting the MBA? Like, how did you get here?
Sure. Great question. And it's a really kind of cheesy answer,
Okay,
but
love
I
it.
promise it's true.
Okay.
So when I was in undergrad, I went to a Society of Human Resource Management meeting at LSU,
Okay.
Go Tigers. And for the life of me, I can't remember who was speaking, but what they were saying really resonated with me. I think, some HR, it's a default to say, we love people.
Sure.
That's not the real answer. It's we want to change the business landscape or change and help businesses through their people. And that's how we bring about change. And that's what I heard from that person. It was a woman. I remember that, but I do not remember who it is. And so I'm sitting there saying, man, this really resonates with me. I love that. I don't see myself as an accountant. I was in the business major, but I didn't quite know what. So that's how I came to the HR side. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. Let's, get these specialized classes in here to beef up that piece of the business major. Then, this was about 15 years ago. I think it has changed in the way that HR now typically has a seat at the table. At the time, that was not always the case.
Right.
And so I thought that if I came to the table with an MBA and a bit more of a business background, I could meet them where they were a little bit more than if I didn't have that MBA.
Love that.
So that was my thought process there.
I think it's so great. And you're right that 10, 15 years ago, HR wasn't sitting at the leadership table making decisions, but our people are what drive our businesses. And they're other than, maybe if you own real estate as a business, but your people are the highest, most expensive line item on your budget, followed by benefits, both of which are managed by human resources. They've got to have a seat at the table. And I love that was your strategy of getting there, because it's how you make change, and it's amazing. And I think you're naturally, people are drawn to you. And I think that, it is kind of, we love helping people, and that's all great. But to help someone is one thing, but to put someone in a position to be successful and watch their careers grow is so rewarding. And it's what drives me. And sitting with business leaders, and this is what we do at Moss Consulting, is we partner with people and we say, hey, we think like owners because we are owners, but we bring the skill set of managing your people and empowering your people that I don't think most employed HR, when you're working for a company, may have that viewpoint.
Right.
And so to have the background with the masters and the people and the passion, it's beautiful. And I think that I think you're going to make a huge difference in a lot of businesses here in Houston. I'm so excited to watch it.
I'm excited.
Thank you for joining us on this edition of the Moss HR Minute. Your expertise in relations, scaling, teams, recruiting, performance management, and organizational development is exactly what Houston business owners need. If you all would like to connect with Ashley, she works with business owners across the Houston area who need on-site HR support, help with people issues, or guidance as you scale. Reach out to Ashley. She's at ashley@mossconsulting.com. If you're a business owner and you need on-site HR, recruiting, payroll support, or help with employee issues, you can also visit mossconsulting.com or book time with me on my calendar using the link below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next edition of the Moss Minute.